Hello. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. We are, I believe, we are live on the YouTube. Let's see. Okay. Yep. We are live on the YouTube. And on the Twitch as well. That doesn't sound as good. That sounds a little less fun. Let me update my stream information. Probably should have done that before I started, but that's okay. We're going to get there. Okay. And over to the guy. Ooh, we're getting an unstable rating. Who knows what that means? All right. Average bit rate too high. Well, it's just going to have to deal. Hopefully it'll fix. Okay. In any case, welcome to the stream. We are working on our Steam controller multiplayer setup today. We're going to be doing the I'm fairly determined to get this multiplayer working today. But I also haven't had dinner, so we'll see how far we get. For those who don't know, I'm Joe. This is our Steam page. Nope, not that. This is our Steam page for our upcoming game, set to release later this year. You can also find it in our bio or on our YouTube page. And let's go ahead and get into it. So the last time we left off, we did get the Steam controller input working. So that's all good for player one. Works in single player just fine. But we're not getting input for the second player when that is connected. So we're going to probably have to do some debug, some print statements and whatnot. But let's see where we are right now. Not getting to controllers. Why is oh. Okay, so we got player one. And player one is controlling player one. Now, come on, player two. So I need to maybe do some sort of print statement for when this controller is detecting input. Make sure I'm actually getting something from the player two. So let's do this. When we get an input from player two controller ID .x. That's the right variable, I think. Let's make sure. Yeah. Okay. So we'll come back down. Okay. So if game mode equals multiplayer, let's do this. Let's print. Let's just print the P2 walk direction right after we get the input. How about that? And actually, I don't think we need this anyway. That was the fallback code, but we've decided to kind of nix that for now. So this kind of simplifies, makes things a lot clearer. So, okay, let's give this a shot. We're going to say print. And let's just print the P2 walk direction. And then we'll print and walk direction, and then we'll just print space, and we'll print P2 climb direction. And we'll just see what we're getting. Let's try it out. Multiplayer. Okay. Yeah, it's not even picking up the input, so that's our problem. Okay, so we're not getting this to happen. So let's actually, before we print the update, oh, well, I suppose I should print it here. Goodness gracious. Okay, print it here. Let's try it one more time. Right before we started, a flying insect of some kind tried to buzz me in the ear, and I was like, what even could that have been this time of year? It's crazy. All right, working. So yeah, definitely not getting an input here at all. Okay. So the question is why? So if we look at our existing logs, we've got the array. So let's hear when it's in multiplayer mode. So let's go to multiplayer. Player 2 set. Okay, so maybe this is our problem. Game mode equals current set controller IDs. If game mode equals global variables dot game mode dot multiplayer. Wait. Okay, wait. Okay, set controller IDs. Where is that happening? Let's go check that out. It's got to be something to do with this. The rest of the code I feel like should be working. Okay, if the controller array size is greater than 1. All right, and then we'll print P1, comma, P1 controller ID, and then P2 and P2 controller ID. Let's see what that looks like. Player 2 set, lower player. So here we go. P1, P2. Okay. We definitely have IDs setting, so that's good. That's good to know. Actually, we'll leave that one. That's kind of a handy one to have. So on Steam setup complete. So we've got that already running once. And we're in multiplayer mode. Okay, so we set controller IDs. That is definitely working. Whenever the game mode changes, we recheck for controller IDs, which seems feasible. And game mode equals game mode. So are we getting that? Game mode equals 1. 1 is multiplayer right now. Okay, let's see if our pause is working. Yeah, it still is. Alright. And that all seems to work. Level 1. Player 2 still not working. Okay. Is it? Oh, maybe it's a controller mapping issue. Could it be that simple? Could it be that I'm just not... Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. How do we get to that? We go to big picture mode. Wow. All right. So let's go to... Oh man, if this is all it is, man, I tell you what. I tell you why. All right. Current button layout. Yeah, that's what it is. Apply layout. I'll have to do this one here too. I think this is how I actually... Oh no, that's the Valve onboard ones. Yeah, that's our issue. Okay, so let's do this one. Apply layout. That all looks good. We'll come back to this one. We'll make sure that this one is good. Apply layout. All right. All right. All right, we're back in. Close that, and let's come here. This is one of those things where it's just going to start working. One of these times, it's just going to start working. All right. Okay, so let's walk through it. So we've got the code, or we've got the ID, and we are definitely getting player 2 set confusingly to lower player. I do need to update that, but it'll break everything right now. That's okay. We're just going to leave it like that, but just know that lower player is actually upper player. They swapped. They're swapped. They're inverted, let's call it. Yeah. We'll go with that. Okay. So, woo. Shaking things up, literally. Okay. So when we're updating our direction, which we do every frame, if the game mode is single player, then we just get the input like normal, which... And you're not... Okay, so I think maybe I'm getting into some logic collision here, because I've done that in the past. That certainly would make sense. Okay, so if the game mode is single player, and you're not player 2, so you're, in theory, you're player 1, then do this stuff. If game mode is set to multiplayer and you're not player 1, which means, or player 2, which means you are player 1, then just get the same thing, same as above. And then if you are set to multiplayer and you are player 2, your character is marked as is player 2, then player 2's direction equals get move Steam controller input, get move input, take the P2 ID, Okay, so there's one way we can test this. Let's just change all of these to P2. And if that's working, then at the very least, we should be able to. Yeah, so that works. That works. And now this one's not going to work. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So definitely the logic is this part right here. This part right here as well. Okay, if global variables game mode. Where are we setting game mode? Is that what it is? Oops. Could it be this simple? Game mode changed. Is that the name of the signal? Maybe it's a signal issue. Game mode changed. All right. We definitely know the game mode has changed. So let's print our game mode. Where's, oops. Print game mode equals game mode. So in our output, are we getting that? Are we getting that? Does game mode equal game mode? Okay, so let's come back up here to our move. We'll get to the check for buttons. Okay, so before we do any of this, let's print out what our game mode is, and let's just make sure all these checks are going to pass. So print game mode. Oh, that's not going to work. Okay, print game mode. Let's print our global variables dot game mode, our current game mode. And then let's print is P2. I know it's going to be a crazy output, but I think it should help us figure out what's going on here. So let's just see what happens. 1 1 false, 1 1 false, 1 1 false. Yeah, see, both players. So where are we updating direction? Let's come back to that. Update. Oh, maybe it's in the state machine. Update direction. It's got to be something like that. Update direction. If current player. Oh. Oh my. Okay. So we need to move this into the actual check. So let's do that. Assignment is not allowed. What is it not like that? If current player. Oh, okay. So we'll need to move this indent. So let's unindent these guys. Let's delete this. Let's move it down into our actual update direction. And we'll put it only when it's single player. because that's when it matters. All right, let's comment this crazy print statement out. But it did kind of help. This is 100% gonna work. Okay, well, at least we're getting something. We're getting movement. We're getting movement from one, but not the other. Oh, are these lights always this bright? I feel like I must have turned something on in the Steam config. Oh, seems like those lights are bright. Okay. I mean, at least we're getting some movement. Okay. So, yeah, that's and it's coming from player 2 control. Oh, right. Okay. That might be why. What if it's just that? What if it's just that? What if it was just that all along? I ask you. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be nuts? All right. Come on. We're going to get multiplayer. Okay. Only one player moving. Only the top player. Oh my God. I have independent movement. Climbing works. Okay. We haven't done buttons yet. Okay. But climbing works. Buttons are coming. Oh, this is exciting. Okay. I think we have multiplayer. I think we're basically there. Code's all working. Okay, so what we need though, it was update direction. So when I was calling update direction, which I had long moved beyond because I wasn't stepping through it. But when I was calling it up here in process on every frame, right? I was calling update direction, but it was only doing that if you were the current player. So it didn't matter that it was 2-player mode and that 2 inputs were selected. The second player wasn't marked as current player. And I could have, as an alternative to what I did do, I could have just had it check for, that would be a better way to do it. I could have just activated that both players are current player. Yeah. I'm going to do that. That's a better way to do it. Let me do that. That's a better way to do it, I think. Because then all I have to do for button is... button actually is just going to work. Okay, let's try it. We'll move it from here. We'll unindent this. We'll put it back up here. We'll re-indent these. And then we'll say if game mode. Yeah, it says in process. If game mode. Ooh, actually. Yeah, if game mode. Okay, yeah. So we'll come back down to our game mode changed. Yep. Game mode changed. So if game mode is multiplayer, current player equals true. All right. And else, so if it changes, if is P2 current player equals false. Well, that'll work. Okay. Still working. Hey. Works with a D-pad. Buttons work. Oh, okay. Not the drop. Not the drop. Okay. We got a little bug. Little bug. That's okay. That's okay. Make sure this isn't still working. All right. We still got player one. We can still climb. Ooh. We can still jump. We can still, well, you know, fall gracefully. Fall with style, I think, is the preferred vernacular. All right. It's getting the input to switch, but nothing should happen when we do that. Yeah, because that's disabled in multiplayer for now. I am gonna enable it so you can swap players. That is on the list, guys. That's on the list of features. We are gaining some progress here, though. Today we are. I don't know when I started talking like that, but there it is. Okay. This is exciting. All right, now. Now, buttons are working, but I can't drop a crepe. Why can't I drop a crepe? I'm waiting. No, I'm not able to drop a crepe because if player, current player, or is player 2. So I think this has to be and is player 2. And is player 2. Why is that set to pass? When did I do that? Why is that set to pass? Oh, right. Because it was dropping crepes all over the place. Oh, no, it should be player.drop crepe. Okay, hold on. Player. Nope. Player dot drop. All right, let's look for drop crepe. Where am I dropping crepes, guys? Drop crepe. Here it is. Player.drop crepe. Okay. If player can drop crepe and the event action is pressed. Aha. Okay. That's an easy one. If event is pressed, player action. Handle input. So he says again, because the crates are working. And I didn't have to hard code those. So let's go back to the original player script, base player, you might say. It's always funny. Not that there's anything wrong with being a bass player. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I didn't say that there was. I didn't even imply it. Okay. Pause. So we're searching for pause. Okay, so these should be already working, right? Okay, so if the game mode is single player and is not P2, it should match this one. It does. If the game mode is multiplayer and is not P2, that should match this one, and it does. And then if game mode is multiplayer and is P2, that should match this one, which it does. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this print statement. I don't need it anymore. But yeah, let's see what's going on with this creep drop. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can. Steam controller is action just pressed. Player action. We got the right IDs. We got the right ideas. All right, let's see. Let's just see where we're at. I like to check periodically because sometimes I feel like I solve it without even. All right, it's detecting the event, so that's not the problem. We're definitely getting event handlers, and only one at a time, which was why it was disabled. I feel like I had disabled it at some point, maybe, which was silly. Should never do stuff like that. Okay. Switch active player. Event detected. Event input. Event action. Action player. Action pressed equals true. Okay. So that is working. So then it's got to be in the player drop. So let's actually go to where we call drop crepe again. If player can drop crepe, player drop crepe. Which one is this? This is in walking. Okay. And that's good. We want that to be in walking. So it's got to be something to do with when we're setting drop crepe. I think that's got to be it. So, or like can drop crepe. So let's go back to, what did I change here? If player can drop, no, yeah. If player, current player. Man, I need to learn more about nested conditionals. Oh my. How do I get rid of them again? All right. If player, current player, and is player 2. But I really only want to check. I really only want to check. Wait, this isn't even happening. Okay, what did I change in this code? I just changed the and to an or. I don't even think this is doing anything. It's just passing. Let's test that because I think this is going to do exactly the same thing it was doing before. Yeah. Okay. So, that was doing nothing. That's okay. Dude, that bug really freaked me out. I think it was just like a fruit fly or something, but man, that freaked me out. I feel like it's still there. I know it's not, but I feel like it is. Anyway, okay, idle. Okay, so where is my drop crepe? Player dot drop crepe. Okay, so yeah, it's got to be something to do with when we're dropping the crepe. I haven't actually heard what that sounds like. Let's see. Dropping the crate. What does this one do? Loop back. What does this one do? Loop back. Apparently nothing. We might have to play with that later. Okay. Player drop crepe. Let's do this because I want this to work. Player drop crepe. Okay, so where are we setting? Can drop crep. Crep. All right. That's not setting. That is calling. Checking. Comparing. I don't know. Okay. If player can drop crepe. Player can drop crepe is false. If player. So on process. This is in the player dropping script. So on process, if the player crepe count is less than or equal to 0, then it is 0 and it's false. Otherwise, if the player is the upper player, the player can drop crepe. If the player crepe count is equal to the lower crepe count limit and not, then player can get crepe. Okay, that all makes sense. So far, I haven't seen anything that would prevent this from working already. Okay, anything else? Is that the only? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Can drop crepe. All right. If upper player crepe count equals 0, can drop crepe equals false. I'm looking for something where I'm checking for current player instead of this because I feel like this is working fine. Can drop crepe equals true. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to some print statements here. So on crepe collected player, if upper player, let's print let's actually just print let's do it for each actually. Let's say print can drop crepe question mark and then can drop crepe. And we're going to just copy that and do it for the lower player or the upper player as well. Let's just see what that yields. What it yields. Okay. Yeah, this is not, it's not detecting it. Okay, so we've got to be, there's got to be something else. Is it the crate code? I haven't looked at the crate code in a minute. Let's look at that. Crate code. how do we open one? Open objects, supply crate. Let's look at that. Yep. That's where it is. So we're only checking for player action. If player can get crepe and player.current player crepe count. All right, hold on. Upper. No. Current. If player can get crepe and current crepe count. Oh, here we go. If body is in group players, player can get crepe. True. No. I'm having no trouble getting the crepe. Player dot. Yeah, it's got to be this. Player dot current player can get crepe. Yep, it's got to be that one. Okay, because it's rendering the image because that is set separately, but this is not actually setting like where they're the crepe. And I think I should be able to test this by the number won't go down. All right, 6. Nope, the number definitely goes down. So that part is happening. Okay, so the supply crepe count. Yeah, because we are the current player. If player can get crepe. All right, let's print. Let's print player crepe count. Player dot player crepe count, and let's print supply crepe count. What does that give us? 1, 6. Not 16. It's 1 and it's 6. Okay. That'll work. Okay. So Okay, let's do. So we're definitely getting the crepe. So we're getting this far. Okay, so that all works. So we're good there. Supply crate, you are not the issue. All right, let's go back to player. See, this never gets called. On crepe collected player. Crepe collected player. That's on the The crepe script. Okay, so maybe it's on the crepe script. Is this the crepe? Yeah, it's got to be. Okay. So if player count. If player crepe count is less than player dot lower. Oh. No, that's pickup. That's not it. That's not it either. Yeah, this wouldn't be it. Drop. No. Get. No. Can player. Let's see. Player. Yeah, the way this is all set up, this should all still be working. Pickup crepe player. So when pickup crepe player, is that what's connected to this? What is connected to this? That might be our issue. On crepe collected player. Crepe into storage. Where am I actually? Where is this happening? Okay, drop. Let's just go back to drop crepe. Drop crepe. Drop crepe. If player crepe count is 1, player can drop crepe. But when I run this, it should be printing. Where am I printing can drop crepe? Let's go back to the search. On crepe. So this is the wrong place to print this, for one thing. Let's print it when okay, let's go to our place where we're printing the detected input action. Detected. Okay, so let's try this. If drop crepe. Check for buttons. Okay, let's come here and let's just see if we're getting this. This should print a ton, but I'm okay with it. Okay, can drop crepe is true. The button is being detected, so that is interesting indeed. Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get this. This is happening for sure tonight. It's happening. It's happening. Okay. All right. So the button's pressed. The condition is met. Let me go back here. We don't need that anymore. We know that's working. All right. So drop crepe. Show me everything. Wait, is it drop crepe? If current player. I done it again. It's basically the same thing I did last time. It's just in the base function. But some of this code I did write months ago at this point, so I'll give myself a little leeway on it. A little. If current player and up. Nope. You know what? I'm wrong because. Wait. If game mode single player. But why? Oh. 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 Game mode. Is that what you meant the whole time? Is that what you meant the whole time? Oh my god. Odd knew it. Odd knew it all along. I just misunderstood what she was saying. I should always listen to her. If any of you guys out there, listen, let's have a heart to heart. If any of you guys out there just happen to be dating an extremely intelligent and beautiful woman and she tells you something, for the love of God, just listen. Just listen. Okay. That's, what is it the kids say? That's it for my TED Talk. Thanks, Odd. Wait, I need to, you know what else I need to do that I guarantee that she's going to tell me to do? Push my changes. Push my changes after this. Multiplayer working, definitely going to push changes. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't remember. Okay. I guess testing. Let's test. I feel like that's happening too much. Ah. Oh, it's way harder now to when you can't just push the button. Oh my god. Ha. Oh, just detected a bug. Ah. Okay. I'm trying to recreate it now. All right. So if the top player is holding and then the bottom player picks up. No. Ah. I also need to work on those controls for the menu. I don't think that'll be nearly as hard as this was. All right, and then I come here. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting, but that's not the intended behavior. So whenever either controller presses, I need a check. Which, probably I should have known. But that's okay. That's okay. We don't need this anymore. All right. Where was that at? Drop crepe. Okay. If current player and upper player and crepe count is greater than 0. So I do need this, actually. If current player and upper player and player crepe count is greater than 0. This is the same code. That's why it's dropping 2. Okay. So I don't know how, but I really messed up this function somehow. It's like I leaned on the keyboard. I'm my own cat. I'm my own cat. Maybe I should change that to the name. Change the name of the stream to that. Okay. If game mode equals global, not global variables. I'm definitely going to come up with a better way of referencing global variables in future projects, for the record. Dot multiplayer. Yes. We're going to get to your colon. We're going to get to your colon. Oh. Oh. That's weird. Okay. If current player, so yeah, we need to not check. Okay, yeah, we do need to check for single player, but for this one, instead of checking that, we want to check if the current player, no, if the is P2, got to have all three, is P2 and is upper player and your crepe count is high enough. Only then and only then. Then and only then. Come on. Nope, still works. Okay. Well, I don't know what that accomplished then. But at least we got it to only drop one crepe. So that's good. Okay, so it's when I'm calling, it's when the button presses are coming in. So drop crepe if game mode is multiplayer. Okay, so we passed this check. We know that we are P2. We know that we are upper player. We know that our creep count is greater than 0. Oh, this doesn't have a check for which player pressed the button. That's our issue there. That's our issue. Okay, so the input, we need a way of checking where the input came from. Oh, well, that's easy. That's super easy. That is super easy. if okay, this is too much. I've just decided. We don't need this check. Okay, I'm restructuring a little. We don't need that check. We don't need any of this repetitive stuff here. We don't even need the game mode. We don't even need to know that. We don't. We don't. We just don't. It's not necessary. What we do need is when we're calling drop crepe, when we're calling it, if player.upper player. So now this is where we need. Okay, so if player dot game mode equals global variables dot game mode dot single player and player dot upper player, then drop the crepe. Else if all of this same stuff basically, except if it's multiplayer, and the player is the upper. No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Okay, we need a way of determining which input came from which player. So we're going to have to come back here. And when there's a button pressed, so for action just pressed, we're going to have to send a signal. Input.parse input event. Does the event itself send a signal? Signal? I don't know if it does. Let's just do global variable, global signal. We're going to say signal. We're going to say player action. And we're going to have ID, which will be a bool. Player or controller ID, which is a bool. And we will pass that in from here. So we'll say oh, man. There's got to be a better way to do this. Okay. Steam controller action. Event. What does the event include? Okay, event.pressed. Parse event. Okay. So we need to somehow get the event data for the which controller, the device ID, the controller handle, to see which one is going to be the trigger for the button press. So we need to look and see if the input.parse event can give us that information from what we have on board. Input event action. I don't think it does. I do think we're going to need a signal of some kind. So let's do this. Let's go back to our signal. So we have our controller ID. We have our player action signal. Let's do this. Let's do global signals dot controller ID was player action. Yeah. And then we pass in the controller ID, which will be device. Player action. Oh, yeah. Dot emit. Okay. Then when we're calling this in the player script, we're going to come back to the, where are we at here? Okay, so in our check for button press code, we're going to come here and we're going to say P2 controller ID. If game mode is, and actually we can do it right here. We'd actually maybe not need a global signal for this after all. Okay, let's test this out one more time. I just want to see what's happening with it. Okay. So we got our first guy. Good. Okay. All right. So that is still working. That is still working. Okay. But now, all right. But if we take our second controller, oh no, now it's not going to do it. I guess did we fix it? Did we fix it? But if they're both holding is the thing. Well, let's check that out. Multiplayer. Okay. Okay, I gotta check on that. Yeah, because it's not consistently letting us drop the crate. Why is it not consistently letting us? Okay. We'll come back to it. Get it. Okay. Dang it. That's not gonna happen. Okay. We gotta get it. We gotta get it quick so Gark doesn't come. I don't want to turn him off and stuff right now for testing. Okay, that seems to actually be working. I'm no longer. Oh no, I am, but only when I'm not when I'm in the thing. Okay. So where did I delete that from? Player. If current player, upper player. Yeah, we don't need any of this still, but I gotta go back a little further because I deleted something else that broke stuff. All right, I'm going too far. Okay, we'll fix one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Okay. We'll set drop crepe Okay, we need to do something to do with the supply crate code, I feel like. Supply. All right, supply crate code can. Where is it? Can drop. Can drop crate. If player can drop crate, drop crate. Okay. Can drop crepe is player crepe count equals 1. If upper player and your count equals 1, you're okay. Yeah. That's our problem. If no, I don't think it is actually our problem. True. I keep thinking I find the problems. On crepe collected player, if upper player. Is this? I don't think that's right. There's something about me being in the zone that doesn't let me. Yeah, it doesn't register the drop crepe if you're in the zone. Because the can drop isn't being applied until you exit, I guess? Weird. Yeah, that still works. Okay. So we still got a little ways to go. We still got a little ways to go. Okay. On it's got to be something to do with the supply crate area detector. Supply active. Okay, so when we got to get to can drop crate, player can drop crate. If event is pressed, if player can drop crepe, player can drop player dot drop crepe. Okay, this is where we're gonna need that signal. So we're gonna need a signal handler here. Func. And we're gonna need one in the idle as well. Func on crepe or on player action pressed. Yep. That's what we need. Okay. And then we got to pass in our ID, controller ID. We got to say if controller ID equals player dot p2 controller ID, then what do we say? What do we say? We need some sort of variable, some sort of Boolean check, flag, something or other. pressed by P2 equals true. So we'll need a variable up here. And let's actually put this in the global state class because we may need this for later. We'll put it up here. Var ID what did I call it? I called it player. That's not it. I called it pressed by P2. So pressed by controller. And let's actually just set this to the ID. I think that makes sense. That makes more sense to me. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. So then we just have to do pressed by controller and set that as an int. And that's it. That's it. Okay, now pressed by controller. So then each state will have that variable and access to use it for its own purposes. So unhandled input, we'll have it do when it's handling the input, we'll have it update. So we'll say I wonder what the order of operations is here. We're going to find out. Event, input event. If I wish there was a way to pass it with the input event. That would be really convenient. But it's not set up that way, unfortunately. And I don't know if I know enough to write it in myself right now. Because I would have to be altering Godot's onboard event. I could probably figure it out, honestly. But we're going to try this first. This is a lot easier for sure. Okay. If is P2 equal if player dot is P2 and no if player is P2. No, we don't want to do an if. We just want to update it. So and player controller pressed by controller equals player dot player P2 controller ID. If player can drop crate, then drop crate. All right, that should do it there. And then we're going to need the same basic thing for idle. And actually, we're going to need this for both, but elif Okay. And we'll copy that. And then, and we also need this. I'm just going to do this for readability. If, oh, why am I doing? Okay, if single player, if all right, that's good. And then elif multiplayer. There we go. Okay. That's why it's not working. Okay. If action pressed. Okay, let's go back to the idle. If the action is pressed, if it's the game, if it's single player and it's the player is the upper player, then drop the crepe. And in that case, you want to be current player. Okay. Else if the game mode is multiplayer, if the event is pressed and it's pressed by player 2, then drop crepe. We need to do and can. On both of these. Ooh, that's some code right there. Okay. So if event is action pressed, player action, if player.game mode equals single player and player can drop crepe. If the player is the upper player and the current player, only then drop the crepe. And then if the player, if the game mode for the player is set to multiplayer and the player can drop the crepe, if the event is pressed, player action, and it's been pressed by controller 2, then drop the crepe and then return the next state. Okay. I think so far we're on it. That's sounding good. That's sounding good. Okay. Okay. I think we're almost there. We're almost there. All right. We basically are just going to need to return all of this or copy all of this into the walking because we're going to need all that logic for walking as well. Okay. I think that should do it. As long as the signal timing. The only question mark here is going to be the signal timing. So we're going to see. Yeah, see that doesn't work. Okay. Unless there's another reason. Let's see what happens when we get the let's see when in the queue of things that we get the signal. Print got signal for controller update. No, yeah. Oh, and I need to connect it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm silly. Okay, where's my ready function? We're going to need this for both. Okay, so first I need to copy this, and I need to copy this to both these here. And then I need to actually connect them, which was a step that I just totally spaced on. Func. Ready? Is there a ready? Ooh, or what I could do. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? I should put all of this in the base class. Does that work? Let's see if that works. That would actually be a lot easier if that works. On player action, pressed, and then we can have it update. Yeah, that'll work nicely, I think. And then let's remove it from our walking code. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, let's go back in and check. Come on, baby. Come on. Nope. Still getting the input signals, so that's good. But it's not ever firing. Okay. So, right, I still didn't put it in there. Oh my gosh. I just made did I just make a ready function? No. All right. Func init. Each time we enter, we don't need that. Func ready. Let's do global signals dot controller did I save that? Yeah. Button press. Oh, what did I call it? Why can't I remember these things? Global signals player. I just called it player action. Okay. Well, that was a good plan at the time. Player action dot connect, and then we'll do on player action pressed. Okay. Come on. No whammy. It's still whammied. All right. That's okay. We're getting close. I can feel it. Okay. Drink some water. Let me drink some water. I'm going to hydrate myself. Is that too loud? I don't know. It might be. Or maybe too long. I added that one. Okay. Let's do this. Got signal. It's definitely working. It's detecting the signal. If controller ID. All right, let's watch that again. I'm not sure what just happened. Okay. So what? Why is it firing so many times? How many times is that firing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, because it's firing on each. Okay, this actually needs to go into the player script instead. That's what I just decided. Which I feel like maybe should have been obvious. I feel like it maybe should have been obvious. But it wasn't, and then that's okay. Player. All right, we'll bring this in as well. All the way to the top. And then we'll come back one more time. Grab this. Delete that. Okay. And back to player. We'll paste this into the ready with all the other signals. All right. Yes, I know. If controller. All right. So that should be good. And then we need to go back to our what do you call it? This. And we need to change this to player dot pressed by controller. Here. And then also yeah, it looks like my computer kind of like flickered like it froze, and I think I lost the stream for a second because now it shows 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Am I still on YouTube? Yeah. Weird. Anyway. Okay, well. I did. It was weird. YouTube seems like it didn't lose it, so it was just Twitch for some reason. I don't know. That's really, really strange. Thanks for rejoining. I appreciate you. Okay. We need to do this here. Player dot. Okay. And I think maybe that'll be better. We'll see. All right. At least it's only happening twice now, once for each player, which is fine. That's totally fine. For it to be doing that, it's exactly what I'm telling it to do. So, and that's what I want it to do. So if controller ID, then controller ID. So let's do print pressed by, and then we'll do that. And then we're going to see if it's updating fast enough. So that's my suspicion. So we're going to okay, so it's sending it twice. Oh yeah, that still makes sense because each player is getting it. Okay. Okay, so now we just need to go back to where we're calling drop crepe. Okay, so if we are in single player mode and the player can drop the crepe, if the player is the upper player and the player is the current player, then go ahead and drop the crepe. Else, if the player is in game mode multiplayer and the player can drop the crepe, and if the event is pressed, player action, and it's been pressed by the player 2 controller, then go ahead and drop the crepe. So when we're looking at this, yeah, I think it's the timing. But if that was the case, it should still work after the first time that you press the button. You know what I mean? This might take more noodling. Speaking of noodles, I am getting quite hungry, and I think I might have to take a break, at least for now. But hey, victory! We got the 2-player motion. We officially have 2 independent controllers. They're not doing everything we want, but they are doing many things that we want, and I take that as a substantial victory. I will go ahead and push changes, even though the crepe drop isn't working. I know that's just a matter of time. And I guess we're going to wrap it up for now. I might be back later or tomorrow, another day, sometime soon. I need to get on more of a regular schedule and like post that and such, and I know that. So I'll work on getting that and getting more organized. Unless I can fix it right now. No. I feel like it should be working. Are we checking the player drop crepe? In drop crepe, are we checking? Yeah, see, we're already checking. Like, we don't need any of these checks. Just go ahead and drop the crepe. What happens if we just comment this out and we just scoot all this over? What happens? Nothing different. This guy's still working. Okay. I really think it's got to be the timing because the event happens and then it seems like it takes quite some time for the rest of it to update. I feel like that's got to be it. And I think that's going to need some off stream research. So I am going to go ahead and disconnect for now, but I'll see y'all when I see you. Thanks for hanging out. And if I don't see you tonight, have a great rest of your night.